Great day, kings and queens. Yeah, welcome to another conversation with Drew. It feels good to be back, man. I know, I was missed, man, just like I missed you guys. Truly missed you guys, man. It's been such a great 2 weeks, of rest and relaxation and vacation. Man, this is a Motivation Monday, man. Again, I'm back. Man, I got so much to talk about. It's crazy. It's crazy, what took place, over these last 2 weeks. It was just so necessary for me to have the time, away, to be able to rest my mind, to be able to rest my body. It's been a lot, that has taken place over these last 2 weeks, and just wanted to, get back on schedule with you guys, man. I missed you guys so much, man. You have no idea. Miss truly coming before you guys every morning. Yeah, little bro, I'm back, man. And so, man, just want to hit on some things this morning. Wow. So, most of you guys know I took a vacation, a nice little hiatus out in on the West Coast. Went to Vegas, Arizona, checked out the horrible Buckeye game, but then ended up in Los Angeles. And the reason why I titled this morning, Why Settle? Because I was exposed to a lot of things, while being out there on the West Coast. And what it revealed to me, truly, great morning, Queen, what it revealed to me truly was that we're settling. And it was not, I don't want to say it was heartbreaking, but it was truly revelatory to see how much we're settling here, how much we're settling in our mentality, how much we're settling in our expectation, how much we're not maximizing our potential, how much we're not reaching the fullness of that is within us. And we all know that we're here for an allotted time. We're all here for a designated time to reach a destination. You guys always know I always talk about purpose, always talking about reaching your destination. And so while out there on the West Coast, I was just exposed to some things. Vegas is Vegas. I'm not into gambling and I'm not into partying, so Vegas is Vegas. You just got the bright lights, and carrying on. But when I went to Los Angeles, and as I'm riding around, through these different communities, from Studio City to the Valley, to West, North, and South, and East Hollywood, and going to these different places, what I was seeing was the cost of living out there is far greater than it is here. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and it's far greater than it is here. But we always hear that when somebody say Los Angeles, we always stop to think like, man, it's expensive to live out there. But what also, what was revealed to me is that every corner that I turned on, everywhere that I went, I started seeing all of these exotic cars, from Maseratis to Bentleys, to Range Rovers to Benzes. Like I kept seeing them over and over every single day in abundance. And so what it did is it spoke to me. It said that, okay, Drew, you being from the Midwest, you always heard that the cost of living out there was more expensive. Well, if it's more expensive, how is it that people are driving these exotic cars in abundance? And I'm like, because there's a mentality that's out here. We always hear that it's materialistic, that people have these monetary ambitions out here. But, as I started going, venturing and going into their malls, from Glendale Mall, the different malls that they had, it's like Easton or the Green, for people who stay out in the Dayton area. It's like Easton or the Green on steroids. It's like 3 in 1, and I was just, going through, and I was seeing, you see a Bentley truck on display or a Panamera. You see these exotic cars. And what, the Holy Spirit really spoke to me is it said that they are creating an expectation of the best. I said, wow. It said that in the Midwest, we are being taught to settle. We're being taught to settle on how we think. We're being taught to settle with our relationships, with our expectation. We're being taught to settle for things that are really nothing. See, here, the mentality here in the Midwest is that if you get a great job, you get a 401k with some great benefits, and you may be able to pay $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 for a mortgage, and you are able to go out and experience Papados in Cincinnati, then you have made it. That is the mentality here. You know, if you can go every once in a while and take a little trip, you know, and you got a great job with benefits, and you will one day be able to get that 401k, you know, you can take a trip to Papados, you've made it. And when I got out there to the West Coast, it was showing me that a $1,400 rent or mortgage will get you a place in the hood. People are paying $2,500, $3,500, $4,500, and mind you, this is not a monetary conversation. This is a settling and expectation conversation. Because what it was showing me is that what we settle for here, that is beyond the norm out there. And it was showing me that if we understand the true value of who we are, the true value of what's inside of us, our expectation has to rise. See, I had to go out there and take that trip. I had to go out there and experience that literally at the beginning of the year, because what it did is it exposed in my mind that we are in a place of settlement. We are in a place of settling where there are places out here that have such far greater expectation that when you do not expect much for yourself, then that is exactly what you're going to get out of life. So going out there wasn't being exposed to saying that, oh, well, you have to have a big house. You know what I mean? That's a $2.5 million house, or you have to have a Benz, or you have to have a Lexus. Or no, what it was saying was that there's more inside of you. There's so much more inside of you. And when you expect more out of life, life has to guarantee you that it has to guarantee what it is that you expect. And it's nothing wrong about small beginnings. You know, Zechariah says that, you know, who dares despise small beginnings. But even with that law, right, about small beginnings, even with that law, understand what it's saying. It says, who dare despise small beginnings? That means that in the beginning, it may be small, but in the end, it has to be greater. Why? Because we serve a Father, or we're being led by a Father, the Creator, the Most High, that says, I, God, give you the power to produce wealth. I don't give you the power to produce mediocrity. I don't give you the power to produce survival. I don't give you the power to produce the average, status quo, the norm. I give you the power to produce wealth. Why? Because you have the ability to go out here and have the influence in the world to build your own communities. You know what I mean? To start your own towns. Because if you want this world to be better, why not build a better one? Why not start a better one instead of settling? So when I'm out here on this West Coast, and again, the mentality here in the Midwest, when you hear, oh man, Los Angeles, oh man, the cost of living is too much. Well, if the cost of living is too much, how is everybody, not everybody, but why was I seeing in abundance Maseratis, Bentleys? I'm talking about kids our ages, 20-something years old, 30-something years old, riding around in Bentleys and Maseratis and Range Rovers and Teslas, seeing all of these different exotic cars. If the cost of living is that much, then that means that they will be riding around in buckets trying to survive out there, right? Well, how are they affording this? Because their expectation. They don't settle. Their mentality is, we deserve the best. So as I'm walking through these different malls, venturing around, going through these different malls, and I'm seeing they got a Bentley truck on display, and they got a Panamera here, and they got a S63 Benz sitting right there. What it was showing me was that they're creating a mentality of expectation of the best. Of the best. Well, you say, Drew, you know, well, in church as Christians, we're taught to be humble and blah, blah, blah. Well, the Father, Jesus Christ said, I come that you may have life and have it more abundantly. He didn't say, I come that you may have life and have it in an average way, or have life in a survival way. He said that you have it abundantly. See, having wealth and having success is not of the devil, or it's not of the enemy, or it's not demonic. It's demonic when it says that for the love of money is the root of all evil. It didn't say money is the root of all evil. It says the love of money. So when you are expecting to only be able to have a $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 mortgage, When you're expecting only to be able to live an average or mediocre life or to survive, that is saying that that's going to spread over all the areas of your life. It's going to spread over your life in your health. It's going to spread over your life in your finances, in your relationships, in your commitments, in your mentality, in your progress, in your attitude. It's going to spread all over. And so going out here to the West Coast, kings and queens, it exposed to me that we're settling. We're settling in life. I'm riding down streets. I'm literally riding down streets. And on both sides of the streets are restaurants, are businesses, are art galleries. I'm talking about literally riding down the street for 30, 40 minutes, and it did not run out, and that was one street. Literally one street, and I'm riding down 30, 40, and I just keep going back and forth looking at all of this stuff like, man, this is crazy, but it's in abundance. So you can never run out of things to do out there. You can never run out of restaurants to visit. You can never run out of art galleries to visit. You can never run out of things to do out there because they have created an expectation of the best. And we're settling. We're settling. Again, I come from a city where, again, if you got a $1,300, $1,400 mortgage, you got a great job with some benefits. When you retire, you get a 401k, and occasionally you can drive up to Cincinnati to get some Papados. You know what I mean? You've made it. But where I was out there, you would never even think to eat Papados. Having a $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 mortgage, and you living in the hood. Talking about a 401k that's only going to pay you a couple $100,000 after you committed 30, 40 years of your life. It does not make sense, kings and queens. I'm telling you now, it does not make sense. What I was exposed to was an expectation of a community. People believe that they deserve the best across the board. You have to change your expectation. You say, well, Drew, I don't have that motivation. How do I get that motivation? You got to travel. You got to get out of where you are. I need everybody to keep sharing this message, man. People need this truth. It's that share button at the bottom. Keep hitting that share button. Everybody that's on here, keep hitting that share button. It's a thing of exposure. You have to be exposed to more. If all you know is 10 plus 10 equals 100, it's 1,000 plus 1,000 out there. It's 10,000 plus 10,000 out there. It's 100,000 plus 100,000 out there. But if all you grew up around was the mentality that 10 plus 10 equals 100, and that's it, then that's all you will go after. That's all you'll strive after. But the reality of it is this. What if you're not even striving after 10 plus 10? What if you're not even giving it 100%? What if you're only giving it 80%? I mean, 10 plus 10, I'm sorry, equals 20. 10 times 10 is 100. But what if you're only striving, giving 80%? Then the expectation here again, the totality of the mentality here is that, man, if you can make $1,200, $1,300, $1,400, you know what I mean, to be able to pay a mortgage, you know what I mean? I'm talking about, well, $2,000, $2,500 to be able to pay a $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 mortgage, get a 401k with some great benefits and be able to travel and go get you some Papados or be able to go to Easton and get you some Brios, then you've made it. And that's a lie. We're settling. Kings and queens, listen, this trip out to the West Coast changed my life forever. I went out there in 2012, but my consciousness wasn't here. It changed my life forever because it was showing me that the expectation that we have here is too low. The expectation of life and what you have inside of you is too low. And so you say, well, Drew, my job will only pay me this. That is what you're settling for. Why are you settling for that? Do you understand that what's inside of you is invaluable? That the greatness that's inside of you is invaluable? So if that job won't pay you what you're worth, you have to believe and expect that there is something out there created for you that'll pay you your worth. Don't settle. Don't settle on becoming great. Don't settle on working on yourself and evolving and cultivating the seeds of greatness inside of you. Don't settle. Don't settle in your mentality. Expect nothing but the best. When I was out there, that was their culture. That was their mentality. That was the totality of the city I was in. They expect the best. And I seen economic prosperity in the Asian community, in the Indian and Middle Eastern community, in the African American community, not just in the Caucasian or European community. I seen it across the board. Every third or fourth person you'll see a Caucasian. It was so amazing to be able to witness that, but it showed me that we're settling. The expectation here is too low. The expectation here is too low. We are business owners. We are CEOs. If you're going to stay here, understand that you still can become a business owner and a CEO. Understand that you have gifts inside of you that the world needs to see and witness. Understand that the magnitude of your greatness inside of you is not predicated on a 401k with some benefits. Are you being able to pay a $1,400, $1,500 mortgage? People are out there paying $2,500, $3,500, $4,500 for a mortgage. I'm out there with my best friend and we're sitting here looking up houses as he's about to transition into a new home. And there's houses on the market, abundance of houses on the market for $3,500, $4,500. I said, dang, back home, people ain't even thinking to pay that. People look at that like that's impossible. Out there, that's the norm because it's an expectation. You say, well, Drew, my city's not big enough. No, the mentality is not big enough. People can live the same exact way where you are if the mentality collectively change. Again, keep hitting that share button at the bottom, man. We need this work. We need this truth. Keep sharing this message, man. Hit that share button at the bottom. Because we need people to understand that the expectation of your greatness is not predicated on what somebody said to you about a job or about a degree. It's predicated on what you expect out of life. Over the weekend, man, Saturday, man, a really great childhood friend of mine that I grew up with, man, got murdered, right? And as I'm reading all the comments this morning on social media, as people find out, you know, I'm seeing all of these people say, man, not my guy, man, he was a good guy. Not my guy, he was a good guy. Oh my God, I can't believe this. It's so wrong how he died violently, and it is. Was a really good dude. But what I realized is that his expectation of life was lower than what other people expected of him. And so he chose the dope game. And he was violently killed by the dope game. Had two parents. His father is one of the most respected Muslim leaders around this region and across the world. You know what I mean? Grew up with, you know, a beautiful family. You know what I mean? Beautiful sisters. But his expectation of life was so lower than what was expected of him. And so he chose the dope game, and that game has no love for nobody, and it killed him. No more than 35, 36 years old. But what it showed me, kings and queens, is the mentality here. We expect the bare minimum, and therefore we will settle in life. Whether that's economically, whether that's socially, whether that's spiritually, whether that's physically, we will choose to settle in life when you need to get out of your small town, your small city, and you need to go out here and explore so that you can see that there is more to you than what you know. It's more to living than what you know. We are not living here. We get up every single day to get stuck in traffic, to go to a place that we do not desire to be in, to go collect a stipend or a paycheck that we know that is not benefiting our lives, to go to a place that it is somebody else's dream, and we have settled and called that life, and that's a lie. It's a lie, kings and queens. I'm telling you, man, it's a lie this morning. When I went out there for over a week, what I was exposed to was that we're settling. But why settle? Why settle when you got so much opportunity out here? Why settle when you have so much greatness inside of you? Why settle when what's in you, the potential that's in you, has the opportunity and has the ability to be able to affect the change that you desire? Why settle when you want your children to have more? Why settle when you want your children's children to benefit from your works? Why settle? Why settle? Y'all can hear it in my voice. I'm not staying in Columbus, Ohio that much more longer. I have to go. I have to go. Because this bad boy will only squeeze a tree out of the seed that's inside of me. And that's all that it will squeeze up out of me. When I go out there, I'm going to create forests with what's inside of me, because the soil out there is ripe for the picking, and you have that same greatness inside of you. Same greatness. The same greatness. I'm telling you, kings and queens. Talks about how the fruit of the righteous is a tree. What that means is that the fruit that you produce, the results that you produce, at the core of it is seeds. And when you feed that to the good people will plant those seeds and they'll produce more trees. And those trees will produce fruit that will produce seeds that will produce more trees, and so forth and so on. So what's inside of you is so great that you cannot settle. You can't settle. You can't settle, man. It was on my heart so heavy. Y'all have no idea that while I was out there, man, I wanted to come before you guys and pour it out to you, kings and queens, that you cannot settle. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing yourself a disservice. We need to talk about your legacy when it's time for you to go be with the Lord. We need to celebrate your legacy when it's time for you to go be with the Lord. We don't need to have the conversation that you was a good person and that you died too soon. We need to have the conversation of, wow, that person, that king, that queen has created something that the world can live off of forever. That's what's inside of you. But if you continue to settle for a 401k with some benefits and an opportunity to every once in a while travel to Cincinnati or wherever the closest Papa Do's is, the reason why I keep hitting on that is because I see people constantly posting that on social media like that's living. I ate out 2 or 3 times a day there, and I never ate at a place that was familiar to where I'm from. Every single place that I ate at was something different. But what it was showing me is that, man, there's so much living out here that we're not doing, but we're settling, believing that where we're from and what's offered and where we're from is life, and it's not. It's not. I'm not talking about you going somewhere to vacate. I'm talking about you going somewhere to explore the possibilities out here. You'll go to places and you'll be like, man, like I was literally settling in life. There's so much more for me out here. People are literally praising the things that's inside of me, but where I'm from, people just pat you on the back. You have the opportunity with the time that's allotted to you to get out here and use your greatness. Use the seeds of the gifts that's inside of you and go out here to impact the world. I'm telling you, kings and queens, man, I'm not making this up. What this trip did for me, what this vacation did for me, it exposed me to truth. I knew over these past few years that I was uncomfortable with where I was in life because of something. But I could not put my finger on that something until I went out to Los Angeles. And what it showed me was there's people that are ready to support you and pour into you and provide you with opportunities for what's inside of you that where you are from will not do. It'll suck you dry. It'll leave you exactly where you are. And it'll call you a good person when you die. But you have the opportunity to go out and explore life. Take a trip. It don't matter if it's to Chicago or if it's to Atlanta or if it's to Arizona or if it's to New York or if it's to Los Angeles. Go to a bigger city than where you are from and you currently residing in and see and be exposed to what's out there. You have that type of greatness in you. You have that type of value in you. You have that type of worth inside of you. And I encourage you, I admonish you to take this opportunity to do so. Stop settling, kings and queens. I'm telling you, you will be frustrated with life because one day you're going to go somewhere. One day you're going to experience something and you're going to see that you wasted 20, 30, 40 years of life settling where you are when there's so much more inside of you that the world needs. Don't die with that inside of you. Do not die with that greatness inside of you. Do not die with that value inside of you. Do not die with those gifts and treasures inside of you. Get out and explore and see that there's so much more in this world that is asking and begging for what's in you. It is begging for what's in you. Literally. This is how powerful it is before I go, right? This is how powerful it is, right? When I came the LAX, and I'm checking in, right? I got to talking to this older white gentleman, and he was from Cincinnati. And so as we're conversing, right, it's just a little small talk. You know, people was taking too long to check in. We're just having a little small talk, right? So after I check in, that was the last time I seen him. So he ended up catching the same flight that I ended up catching. And so as I'm sitting down and I'm waiting for the baggage claim to come through, waiting for my luggage, you know, finally I get up, you know, I hear the machine cut on and, you know, start pushing out the bags. And so I just walk down to the end of it, and I'm standing there, and I look to my right, and it's the same guy that I was talking to. And so I began to, you know, he looked at me like, man, you a big dude. He said, what, you play football or something? And I'm like, no, you know, I was like, I used to be obese, you know what I mean? I changed my lifestyle, got in shape, you know, so forth and so on. And then, you know, it led to me, you know, finding my purpose as motivational speaking. You know, he was telling me that he was a screenwriter, and he was originally from Cincinnati, moved out to LA, been out there for 25 years. He was also, I want to say he was in sports nutrition or something of that magnitude, right? And so, he assumed when I say that I'm motivational speaking, I was in a fitness, that I was a fitness motivational speaker. And so as we talking, you know, having small talk, I began to tell him that, you know, my message was about purpose and about gifts and about uniqueness. And he just looked at me. You know what I mean? He probably in his early 50s. He been out in LA for like 25 years. He looked at me. He said, wow. He said, that's what you talk about? He said, man, listen. He said, man, if you go out to LA, he said, man, you will blow up. He said, that's the culture out there. That's the mentality. Everybody's out there looking for their purpose. He said, everybody's out there looking to be unique and express themselves uniquely through their gifts. He said, man, they will eat you up out there. He said, man, you got to go out there. I never met this guy a day in my life. But for him to have known the culture of where he was from, and where he now currently resides, and for him to say that, he didn't say, Drew, hey man, if you stay right here in Ohio, then love it. But he knew that that's not the overall mentality. So he said, man, if you go out there to Los Angeles, he said, man, you will explode. He said, because they'll eat that message up. He said, because that's the culture, that's the nature of what people think about. So what I'm saying to you, kings and queens, is that what's inside of you, it may not be for the community that you're in. It may not be for the town or the city you're in. But what's inside of you is so great that you have to go to a place of greatness. You have to go to a place that has the fertilization and the soil that will help cultivate the greatness inside of you. You cannot settle. You cannot settle. You have to change your expectation. And sometimes the only way to change your expectation is through exposure. People who are dying in the hood that is selling dope, they have only been exposed to that. And so that's why they continue to do that. But when you are exposed to something else and you have the opportunity to see the greatness inside of you, it has the ability to change the way that you think, kings and queens. You cannot settle in 2017, man. I'm telling you, if you step out on faith, if you step out on the belief to be able to expect to get to a place that you have never gone before and a place that you have never seen before, I promise you from the bottom of my heart that something is going to happen magnificently in your life. That is the God's honest truth. That's the God's honest truth. You really consciously think about it. Why was I in Los Angeles literally at the beginning of the year? We always talk about, man, the New Year resolution. We always talk about, man, you know, I want to go into the next year doing something great. You know what I mean? I didn't have a problem with 2016. Out of all the stuff that I went through, the heartbreaks, the hurt, the letdowns, all of that I went through, I still didn't have a problem with 2016. I wasn't trying to escape 2016. I just knew that 2017 was going to be better. So the fact that God had me out there literally on the 1st of January, the 2nd of January, the 3rd of January, 4th and 5th of January, literally at the beginning of the year, was a sign that something great is about to happen for us. This ain't about Andrew Clayborn. I'm a messenger. I came back to deliver the message that you got greatness inside of you and you cannot settle in 2017, that you have to expect more. And that the culture out there was showing me that it is an expectation to be great around the world. But if you never get that, you will settle in life. But you have the ability today to change that. You have the opportunity today to change that. Don't die and all we talk about was how good of a person you are. When you die, let us celebrate you in the greatness that you left us, because you poured out every bit of you. You poured out all the greatness that's inside of you. You died like my Uncle Paul died, where he says, I have been poured out like a drink offering, meaning that they poured the last little bit out. Everything that was inside of me is now done and it's gone. And you can die like Big Bro JC, who said it's finished. Not I'm finished, but it's finished. The work that I was sent to do, the purpose that I was sent to fulfill, the destination that I was sent to reach, it's finished and I'm done. God bless you, kings and queens. Again, this is a Motivation Monday. This is Motivation Monday. A Magnificent Monday, I'm sorry. And I love you, kings and queens. I bless you, kings and queens. But remember, it's not a look, it's a lifestyle. Because we do this every day, not to impress people, but to leave an impression on the earth. God bless you. Have a magnificent Monday. And remember, man, that you can go to www.bethebrand.b for that B gear. You know how we do it, man. We taking over the world in all facets of life. And I just want to personally thank every single person, you know, that has donated to the cause, that donated to the movement. If you have not had an opportunity, inbox me for further instructions, and I'll let you know how to do that, man, so you can be of a service and we can do this collectively. Because Andrew Clayborn can't do it by himself. I love you, kings and queens. Peace.